Hey, good day, everyone. Rich Griswold, Griswold Capital Strategies, and just got done binge watching a very popular series on one of the major streaming networks, and probably couldn't be any more vague than that. But the story is of a chemistry teacher who is the sole financial provider of his family, has a pregnant wife at home, and a teenage son with cerebral palsy at home. He then finds out he has late stage lung cancer. And of course, he's thinking about this legacy he's going to leave with a mortgage and unpaid medical bills, etc. So he goes on to put his skills to work as a chemist into cooking methamphetamine because he figures with the short amount of time that he believes he has, he needs to get the most bang for his buck, so to speak. Well, I'm sitting back watching this show and I'm thinking, this is how my little brain works, by the way. Why didn't he just have some life insurance in place? My gosh, he would have saved so much stress and anxiety, so much illegal activity could have been averted with a little bit of life insurance. And you say, well, how could he get life insurance if he has cancer? And that's a fair question. He, of course, would have wanted that in place prior to getting sick. We insure so many areas of our lives not expecting something to happen, but in case something does happen. We don't buy car insurance in anticipation of getting into a car accident. We do it so that if it does happen, we have that peace of mind knowing that we're not going to suffer a massive financial setback. Same case with health insurance, homeowners insurance, etc. Well, with life insurance, we actually are buying it in anticipation of something happening to us, our demise. And I think one of the things that gets in the way of us actually doing it, of buying it, is that we think we're going to live forever. I think that's human nature, especially the younger we are. Now, as I've gotten older, I know there was a time in my life where I never, buying life insurance never crossed my mind. But as I got older and I've got a wife and son, of course, now it's something that's top of mind. And I get older and I realize I'm not going to live forever. I may think I'm going to live a very long time, but unfortunately, things don't always work out as planned. So going back to our streaming hit show family, you might say, Rich, you know what? They were a one income family and they were already financially strapped. They were behind on bills. They didn't have extra money for this. And that's a fair question or a fair observation. And what I believe is when your family's financial future is at stake, that you have to find a way to do it. You can cut discretionary spending out of your budget. You can find a side hustle to generate a little extra income, selling on eBay, for instance. And if you can't find another way, and you happen to be gainfully employed, then look to your employer. For instance, most companies offer $50,000 of life insurance coverage at no cost. It's a fringe benefit. And then if you want to add coverage above and beyond that, it's typically a pretty nominal cost because it is a group policy. So outside of that, then you might say, well, but life insurance is expensive if I'm not gainfully employed or my company doesn't offer life insurance coverage. And it can be expensive, but it depends on a lot of things. Typically, age and your overall health, of course, are the two main factors. But these days, life insurance comes in all different shapes and sizes. So before you just assume that it's expensive, it's at least worth looking into. I've seen too many times, and this is really what inspired this vlog, is that as I spend some time on social media, I see so many instances where people have lost a loved one and they're posting a link to a GoFundMe page to raise money to cover burial costs and near-term living expenses for a surviving family member. And picking up the pieces after the death of a loved one is hard enough without having to think about how you're going to keep food on the table, how you're going to keep a roof over your head. And that's why I believe it is our responsibility to make sure these are the last things that a surviving spouse or surviving family members have to think about. And on another note, if you are a one income family and there is a spouse that stays home, either because they don't have to work or because they are raising the young children, don't think for a second that the stay-at-home spouse doesn't need to have some kind of insurance coverage. According to salary.com, the stay-at-home spouse earns an equivalent salary of $162,581 in 2020. So if you are the sole financial provider of the family, I would consider thinking very carefully before you come home and make some kind of comment about who brings home the bacon. I am licensed to sell life insurance. I have no company line to toe, which simply means that I can shop dozens of different carriers for the best pricing. If you don't have life insurance, if you don't have enough, or you may actually have too much, or you're just not sure, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to discuss. And with that, just wish you all the best. Continue to stay safe and healthy. And I look forward to my next vlog. Take care.